What's happening? What's happening? This is the Sports Counterpoints podcast on January 2nd, 2024. Happy New Year to everybody. I'm GB, Brian and Coop with me as always. Good to be, this is our 6th year of this show, guys.
Wow.
I know we're old.
Crazy,
Wow.
man. We all started
Crazy.
on a table at Brian's in the old house,
Man.
doing an NFL preview show just because we wanted to talk sports. So here we are. As I said, we're back to it. It's our sports show. I'm GB, as I said, your 2023 Gridiron Fantasy League champion.
Oh,
Just
okay.
thought I'd throw that in there.
Okay.
Congratulations,
like you won it.
man.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Yeah, so it's documented.
Congrats, for real.
Season 20 of the league.
That's hella funny.
It
Season
took
20.
It took me half of them to get there. So to even get this close. So we're to Matt too. We were in the final together. So, but yeah, so we're talking, speaking of championships, man, talking about the college bowl games, have the semifinals where it's pretty dang good games. Those were some really entertaining games, plus some other bowl games. And we'll talk the NFL. So man, let's just slide straight into college football, start running them down. B, let's talk about it.
All right, well, where do you want to start? We'll start with the ones that weren't the big ones. So we talked a little bit about the Arizona-Oklahoma game. We were both on Arizona, I believe. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was right.
And Arizona won 38-24.
Hey, if we could, sorry to
Go
interrupt you, B, but Coop, could you make up the names for these bowl games? I know they have regular names, but if you could just throw out, because I think yours would be funnier.
Valero Alamo Bowl.
Oh, I was gonna say the Exxon Gasoline Station Bowl, but okay.
All right, no, that's good. Yeah, exactly. That's good.
Instead of
Everyone,
Valero, you know.
yeah, I want a Coop name for everyone. Go ahead. Sorry, guys. Go ahead.
Hey ho.
No,
Go ahead.
that,
What'd you think about the game?
No, I was thinking I was interested in this game because Arizona has pretty some NFL wide receivers on that team, just like Washington. They have NFL wide receivers. So whenever you see NFL wide receiver, you kind of want to watch those guys, go off in these games. And Arizona put up 38. I'm not really a big, huge Oklahoma fan for many reasons I'll get into some other time, but I'm always happy to see them lose is the bottom line. And they lost to a Pac-12 team. And the Pac-12 has been going out with a bang this year. It's the last year of their existence, man. And they're making it happen. So I don't know if it's motivation. I don't know what it is, but they're just killing people right now. So congratulations to Arizona for beating Oklahoma. I know that was very important to them. And the Alamo Bowl.
As you were talking about with their wide receivers, man, those two guys were having a competition. You had Jacob Cowling going 7 for 152 with an average of 21.7 for 2 touchdowns. So that stat line is absolutely outstanding. And then I can't say his name. I'm going to mess it up. But Toroa McMillan had 10 receptions for 160 at 16 average. No touchdowns, but just an outstanding 2 wide receiver tandem that just kind of beat up on him.
Yeah, he's either going to work in human resources or be in the NFL. But yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Next game.
Well, real quickly, while we're talking about the Pac-12, the SC game, for those of you guys who watched it, was absolutely electric. This boy, Miller Moss, man, talk about a coming out party. So he's a third-year sophomore, and going into his junior year. It's real easy to see why Malachi decided to transfer next year, because he was a 5-star recruit and was supposed to be the next biggest thing. But after watching Miller Moss in this game, it's real obvious to see that this kid is special. I mean, he threw for 6 touchdowns against the Louisville Cardinals starting team. They didn't have a whole bunch of people sitting out, mainly because they're not at that level of program where people are thinking about that. And USC spanked them. They ran the ball like sparingly, but just Miller Moss just went absolutely crazy. They also had one wide receiver with like 3 touchdowns. I'm looking it up, but they had one wide receiver with 3 touchdowns. That was just 2 wide receivers with 2 touchdowns. Taj Washington with 2 touchdowns and Jacoby Lane with 2 touchdowns. On the other side, though, Isaac Garindo, he had 3 touchdowns and 161 yards. But Miller Moss is going to make the first year in the Big Ten very, very interesting, because he can absolutely play. I'm not saying he's Caleb Williams, but he's going to burst onto the scene, and he knows how to put a ball in some pretty amazing places. That was fun to watch. I don't think that any of the Pac-12 teams have lost the bowl game yet. Am I wrong about that? UCLA won, USC won, Arizona won.
I thought somebody. Let me check. Not sure. You could be right though.
No, I don't.
I'm
I
looking
don't,
up and
I
down.
think
Oh,
that's the
Cal.
list.
Cal lost. Yeah.
Cal made a bowl
Yeah,
game?
yeah. I didn't know
Okay,
either. They
well,
played Texas Tech. Yeah, I didn't know that
What,
either.
what would you call that bowl game, Coop?
Oh man, that bowl.
Garbage.
Oh, damn. This is the Commanders Bowl, Independence Bowl, whatever you want to call it. 4th of July Bowl. Yeah, I didn't even know if it's in Shreveport, Louisiana, the Independence Bowl, but whatever. Yeah, that's what they played in. I don't think anybody cared to even watch that. Brian didn't even know, and I know
I didn't even
Brian's
know it
a
happened.
staunch Pac-12
Yeah,
guy.
I'm
So,
looking. I'm
yeah.
still looking for it, man. I'm still looking for it right now and having problems.
Oh, and
finding
Utah
it.
lost. Utah lost too. Yeah, they lost in the Casino Bowl in Las Vegas.
The Casino
Casino
Bowl.
Bowl.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love
That's
it.
where they lost. Yeah,
I love
that was it. But I mean, nobody really cares about them two teams anyway. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
word.
Oh,
word.
Northwestern. God, really talk about the irrelevant Allegiant Bowl.
right.
All right. But and then skipping over to what?
Well, we was on opposite sides on Mississippi and Penn State. You took Penn State, I took Mississippi. Ain't like both of us watched the game anyway. I just picked Mississippi because they have offense and Penn State doesn't. So that's the only reason I picked them that game. Didn't bother watching. I see they won 38-25. But
Cool.
other than that, did you want to say something about Georgia and Florida State?
I think
I
Georgia
mean-
Georgia said a lot.
The only thing to say
Right.
is, I think maybe this makes the Florida State fans feel a little bit better about not being put in the playoffs because now they have the ability to understand that without your quarterback leader, you can get lucky against some menial teams, but you are not going to be a national championship competitor. And being undefeated is nice. I mean, as Oregon proved, and we'll be talking about in a minute,
Right.
being undefeated just doesn't mean everything if you don't have the horses to play at that level. So, hopefully Florida State feels a little bit better about where they weren't because they're darn sure not going to feel better about that drubbing they got 63-3.
Yeah, I mean, even if they had Jordan Travis at quarterback, he wouldn't have been good enough to overcome beating Georgia. It just wouldn't have happened. It was 17-point spread, and then they went up to 23.5. So they wouldn't have covered the
Georgia's
17.
really good.
Yeah, they're just a really good team that had a bad off week when they lost one game. Yeah, they're still a good team. So, but speaking of Oregon and Liberty, I mean, I didn't want to bet this game, but I said Oregon can win by 35 easily if they wanted to play. And you were saying, well, they want to play. And it looks like they did want to play because they won 45-6. And pretty honest, I've seen Oregon play. To be honest with you, they were up 31-3 at 31-6 to half. They could have scored more if they wanted. They just did. But this is what they do.
But they also have a bunch of players who are going to get ready for the draft that they didn't want to play when the game was out of hand because the worst thing that could happen is that a draftable player gets injured in a bowl game that they decided to play because all that means is more players the next year won't play and they're all trying to protect that. But Oregon had that game well in hand.
You want to get to the big ones yesterday?
Let's get to the big ones.
Yeah. If you didn't watch these games, you're missing out. This is why college football is the second most watched sport in America. Games like this.
These I did watch. With the family.
And they were every bit worth watching. I mean, talk about some just outstanding football games.
Down to the end in both of them. Washington shouldn't have been close, but go ahead. Y'all pick a game. Let's do it.
Yeah, go with the first one.
Okay, well, we'll start with Michigan and Alabama. Michigan won 27-20 in overtime. This battle went all the way down, as you could probably tell by the fact that it went down into overtime. But it went down all the way to the last play, where Michigan had to get a stop on a goal-to-go situation. Alabama I'm not exactly sure what play they thought they were calling.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, they were confused. They said,
"Yeah, we were talking about it." I just didn't think that you just don't give yourself any options when you do a dive play on that situation because if the play goes bad, there's no amount of creativity or athleticism or anything that can get you out of it because it's a dive play. You're going straight for the middle. I don't understand when people do that. Even if you want to get the ball to the running back, I feel like you either do a delay or an option or something like that, just in case things go sideways. You get a little way out of it. But anyways, this was an outstanding football game all the way up to the end. Michigan and Alabama fought it out. Michigan took an early lead. Alabama came back. I do think that Michigan was the better team this year. I picked Michigan, obviously, to win this one. And it's going to be an interesting next week.
Yeah, I wanted Michigan to win, but I picked Alabama just based on recent history when these Big Ten teams play SEC teams. Now, I did say at the beginning of the season that Alabama will lose 3 games. So I didn't think this was a good Alabama team. Another reason I picked Alabama is because not only recent history, but both of these guys to me aren't NFL quarterbacks. So I just want to go with the coach that has the better track record in games like this, which is Nick Saban. He lost. I am not mad that he lost. I had no money on him. Perfectly excited that there are no SEC teams in the championship game since 2015. So I'm not mad at that at all. We get to see somebody new play for the national title. But, good win for Michigan. They deserved to win. They came back in late in the fourth quarter, scored a late touchdown, got the ball in overtime, scored a touchdown, and then stopped Alabama, which I still believe Nick Saban looked at that, remembered how Vince Young beat USC from outside the goal line on a quarterback sneak. And I think he tried to do the same thing. You can't run up the middle on Michigan. It's not happening. And Michigan stopped that easily. Alabama didn't have a chance with that play to even try to tie the game. So good win by Michigan. Good to see Jim Harbaugh, guy, coach who I like. Of course, he coached the 49ers, got run out by the owner, but good to see him finally make the championship game. Michigan is not a national championship program, which makes this run even more, I would say, surprising or actually, spectacular just to even look at, because Michigan is not Ohio State. Ohio State can pretty much let anybody in. Michigan can't. So for Michigan to get this far in football with the team they have, I mean, it's a testament to Jim Harbaugh and his coaching. So good for him. Excited to watch the national championship game. And then we can move on to the next game. On this show, I picked Washington, and then I told you guys I made a bet on Texas yesterday, -3. And and the thing is, why I said Washington will win last week is because they have a better coach and they have a better quarterback. I do not trust Steve Sarkisian as a coach at all, and he just proved me right yesterday. All these penalties. Yep. I mean, defense couldn't do nothing. I mean, Washington just went up and down the field all game. Washington should have won that game by more. That game shouldn't have been close. It was close, and there was drama at the end. Washington pulled it out. Good for Washington to pull the game out. It's good to see a Pac-12 team, or good to see Washington. People who don't know, Washington used to be a national championship contender back in the early 90s when Don James was the coach of that team. Washington was a really, really good program. So it's good to see them get back to the national championship game after all these years and represent the Pac-12. I like Michael Penix as a quarterback. Good for him to be on the national stage so people can see who he is. And he decimated. He threw some darts against Texas secondary. I mean, I don't think Texas secondary is all that, or their defense is all that, but still, you got to make the throws. And Penix made those throws over and over and over again. His line gave him great protection, but you still got to make the throws, and he did that. So congratulations to him. People are finally seeing who he is, and congratulations to Washington as well. So I'm excited to see next week's game. What you think about it, B?
As the Pac-12 dissolves.
Yep.
No,
yeah, it'll be crazy that Washington, a Pac-12 team, could possibly win the national championship in the last year of the league's real existence. I mean, it actually does exist next year. It's a 2-team league. But anyways, Michael Penix was outstanding. And one of the telling stats is, he threw 38 times, completed 29 passes for 430 yards and 2 touchdowns. Quinn Ewers, who also throws the ball well and is considered a chucker and all that kind of thing, threw for 43 times and still only got 318 yards. So, there was a lot of passing going on in this game, and Penix just kind of was a cut above. They also had 2 wide receivers that were over 100 yards, one at 125 and one at 122. He was spreading the ball around, what you got to do at 430 yards. This was a fun game to watch. Obviously, I was rooting for Washington because of the Pac-12 affiliation, and I like to see the Pac-12 win bowl games, because I do think that they've always been a much better conference than people wanted to give credit for them. There most certainly is a bias against the West Coast teams and a bias for the middle of the country and East Coast teams, probably because it's easier to watch for East Coast viewers, but that's not the point. The point is there's been a ton of talent on these West Coast Pac-12 teams for a really long time. And I think that they showed that both by this, but in the dominance of the games that they did win throughout the bowl games. Because they weren't just beating teams, they were beating up teams ranked teams across the board. Liberty, USC beating up Louisville, now Washington here, Oregon also showing out, even UCLA winning. Too often, because of the strength of schedules that the Pac-12 has always prided themselves in playing, they beat each other up. And because they beat each other up, their records don't necessarily look as good as the teams are. But I'm really rooting for Washington, and I'm sure we're going to get into that next. Glenn, do you have anything to say about this game?
Oh man, that boy Penix looked good. For me, the most interesting thing is all Raiders related, right? So it's like Harbaugh as the next coach, Penix potentially as the next quarterback, or McCarthy from, Michigan. So that was interesting. But I thought that the Washington game was good. It was the first time I actually saw Penix because I don't really watch college ball. And dude just looked, he was poised. He could move. He looked ready. He was airing it out. Like it was a good game. Texas was, it was closer than it probably should have been. But
yeah.
Texas made some plays at the end that made it interesting, and it was a good game. It was very fun to watch those games.
Sark is by nature a very good offensive coordinator. So to see their team do things on the offensive side isn't exactly shocking.
Yeah, he's a good recruiter too. But as far as just overall coaching, it's just penalties. That's a problem all season. I think they had like 8 penalties before Washington had 1, so they just don't play a clean game. But good for Washington; they deserve to win that game. They did. Both teams. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm saying both teams that won, they should have won. They deserve to win. They made the plays when they needed to make the plays and win the game.
Definitely. Yep. Alabama, real quick. I think their quarterback, Jalen Milroe. I don't know if y'all saw one. That brother was. He was a running quarterback. That's what I saw, bro.
It was really like watching Vince Young in the Rose Bowl, and I went to that game when Vince Young and the entire. I was in the student section, and the entire student section's going, "He's gonna run! He's gonna run!" And, they were shadowing him with the 2 brothers, and he still ran to the outside. And Milroe had a lot of that type of offense going.
He was running or throwing deep. I mean, it was like back to back to back. I was just like, dang, it was 40-yard pass, run for 15 yards, 40-yard. I'm like, damn, okay.
Yeah, that's his game. That's how he played all season. He just runs or throws it deep. That's it.
And then real quick, I gotta reference his. I don't know if y'all saw his motto, that LANK, Lank.
Yeah, Lank.
Let a naysayer know. Yeah, I'll just leave it there because anybody who knows. So nothing else need to be said. So yeah, so that was cool. Word to the 2 teams in the final. It'll be fun to watch that. And then, unless you guys got anything else, let's slide to the league.
Well, I want to know who B got.
We got to talk about the championship.
Oh yeah, for the championship. Sorry, yeah. Do that.
So I know who B got, but I want him to go ahead and explain it. Go ahead.
Do you know who I have?
I have an idea.
It's a 50-50 chance.
There's a difference between who I'm rooting for and who I think is going to win.
Okay, you're right.
What's the spread?
It's 5 now.
I was just looking up. I think it's 4.5 for Michigan.
Okay.
Let me just make sure. But yeah,
it was 5. It's still 5. It was 5 when I looked earlier, but it started at 4.5. Yeah. Which is right. Yeah.
Okay. So the Vegas has Washington winning.
Michigan.
Oh, you said Michigan by 5.
Michigan. Yeah. So I want to know who Brian has.
So ESPN has it at
-5. Got it.
At Michigan -4.5.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing: I'm absolutely rooting for Washington to win.
Oh yeah.
But I pick with my brain and not my heart, and I think Michigan's got the better team. I've thought that if you've listened to this for a while, I thought Michigan was the best team all season.
Yep.
I still think that they're the best team. I also think that they have gone through more adversity. They're tough. They know how to win games that are difficult to win. They've been put in more of these types of situations. They played without their coach. They played without players. So I do think that there's a good reason why it's easy to believe that they're going to win. Now, that does not mean that I'm rooting for that. I'm not going to put any money on the game because it's much easier for me to root against my interests that way, because I really do think that Washington's going to play hard. I think that this is going to be a close game. I do think that 4.5 point spread is about right, because this could be a field goal or a touchdown, but it's going to be like a 1-score type of game in the end. And with the over-unders at 55, I would take the over. I think this is going to be a pretty high-scoring game. in the end, and I think it's going to be great. But I'm rooting for Washington, and if I had to make a pick, I'd say Michigan.
Damn, Brian, you really surprised me because you made a lot of points that I would make. I want Washington to win. I just don't think they will. Michigan has been consistent and they are a tough physical team. And the main reason why I'm taking Michigan is because Washington had it very easy against Texas. It ain't coming that easy against Michigan. Michigan can stop the run and they can stop the pass. That defense hits and they hit you hard and they run people over. And I'm not sure if Washington has the bodies to stop their running game either. Because if Michigan gets to rolling, running the ball, there's no way to stop them. I don't care who you are, Ohio State, anybody. They'll just run over you all game and pass when they need to. So as much as I would like Washington to win, I just think that Michigan's the tougher team. Like you said, they've been through adversity. They play without their coach. They've drilled teams, Ohio State, Penn State. I mean, just ran the ball 26 straight times against Penn State, just down their throat. And Harbaugh plays a physical style of football, and I just think he's due this year. And they've been very consistent this year, very, very consistent. Not saying that Washington hasn't, but I just think Michigan just has those big bodies, man. That defense is going to shut Washington down on offense. It's not going to be as easy as it was against Texas. Not nearly as easy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I won't be shocked if it goes the other way. I mean, this Washington team is really good.
Yeah.
I think it's a one-score game. I just think that if you're going to look at the two teams and make a decision on who's going to win by 4.5 points or whatever, it's just real easy to see how Michigan can pull this out. Yeah. But I will actively be rooting for Washington to do.
Yeah. I hope Penix don't get hurt because he's gotten hurt a couple times in college, and Michigan defense hits. If you're watching this game, watch the offensive and defensive lines of Michigan. If they dominate on both sides, that's going to tell you who's going to win this game because Harbaugh has built this team like an SEC, built the offense and defensive lines like a SEC team with huge bodies on there. So yeah, it should be a good game. I can't wait to watch it. I hope Washington pulls it out. I just don't think they will, but I hope they do. Be
Nice.
great going out for the Pac-12.
I'm just gonna watch, man. I don't have y'all said it all as far as the predictions. It'd be cool to see Washington get it just because of kind of what it represents for the Pac-12, as it forms into the two team league and those teams move, and then seeing what that does for Penix. But I'll definitely be watching. Should be a good game.
Yeah. Oh, it would definitely boost Penix's draft stock. Definitely if he was able to pull this one out. Yeah.
I just don't understand when you look at some lists. They had him behind JJ McCarthy.
No, he's better.
He is, and he's been better all season.
All season, yeah.
I honestly believe that he is the second best of the prospects. I know some people like Drake May. I like Penix better. I totally get the Drake May fascination. But at margins, you got to make choices. And if I were a team that had the opportunity to pick the third quarterback, because we all think it's going to go Caleb Williams and then Drake May pretty quickly. If I'm a Raiders team that doesn't have the Harbaugh, I think I told you if it gets Harbaugh, it's going to be JJ McCarthy for sure. But if I'm a Raiders team that has Antonio Pierce, I would love a guy like Penix if I were Antonio Pierce. I mean, he seems like a person who could play Raiders style football and have that kind of energy. And all the people who want to talk about the fact that he's 24 years old and he's coming out a little bit later, and you look at the ages of the quarterbacks. All the rookie quarterbacks and the young quarterbacks are all about the same age. And the ones who are doing really well, they're all 23 and 24. There's some that are 22 as well, but 22, 23, 24, that's young for quarterbacks. It does not matter which one you are. I would take that experience and a person who can throw for 430 yards any day if I'm one of those teams that's going to draft a quarterback.
He also said free his partners in jail, so I was wondering if that's why you were saying that, trying to be funny, but okay.
Penix to me, even coming into this game, he's better than. I don't even like Quinn Ewers from Texas. I really don't think he's that good. He's definitely better than him. He's better than Bo Nix. A lot of people have Bo Nix better than him from Oregon. I don't think so. Some people even have Shedeur Sanders from Colorado better than him.
Not coming out yet, right?
And whether he is or not, Penix is still better. And I know Jaden Daniels, not hating on him. He had a great season at LSU, but I would take Penix over Jaden Daniels. Penix is number 3 on my list. I like Drake, then Caleb, and then Penix. That would be my top 3 prospects as far as quarterbacks.
If y'all are right, the order, Drake, then Caleb?
Huh?
Is that the order? Drake, then Caleb?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk as we
get closer. Right, Penix may be there when the Raiders draft. That would be crazy.
Well, he will.
That
He's
would
going
be
to be
crazy.
they have him 4th or 5th off of boards, even, and maybe it changes with everything in
Yeah,
these
sure.
They have him 4th or 5th off the board. He will definitely be available to you all at the, 11th or 12th pick.
Yeah, I think we're lower than that right now. I think we're 7 or 6 or 7. So we shouldn't be actually to that point, but that'll be interesting.
Nah,
That'll
y'all
be
won
great.
too many games. Y'all been
Yeah.
winning too many games. I don't know
we
if
got
it'll
like
be
9.
available. We'll see though.
That'd be cool. Again, I'm thinking Madden because I never know what's gonna happen in real life. I don't know who the coach is gonna be. I don't know nothing, but Madden, bro, I'll take him. Word. Okay. So cool, man. That was your college bowl game. So we're already kind of hinting at the NFL already. Let's go through last week's games, man. We just kind of run down the list.
Well, how y'all feel about Dallas and Detroit? That happened on Saturday.
We can do that. I mean, I think we all know what happened there. It was obvious. I was with Jelani. Shout out to my cousin watching with a Cowboys fan. And I was calling the game. I mean, the game was contested. It was well played. It was interesting. It's exciting the whole time. And I was saying once they scored, I was like, I definitely go for 2. 100%.
I would too.
They lined up. They got the conversion. The conversion was over damn near. They're on the sideline. We're all chilling. And then they say, yeah, number 68 or whoever it was didn't report. So
Except for they got video footage of him walking,
right.
The quarterback saying, go report, and then him walking over and doing it. It's
It's ridiculous. Everybody doing it right. Now, the one thing I will say is I see what Campbell was doing because they had already got their spot on lock. It was just, a game to win. And I think they had decided that they were going to go for 2 regardless.
Yeah, they should have.
Yeah. I would have switched at that point. Once we got bumped out and we didn't miss it, I'd have tied it up and see what happened. But I think they were like, we're going to go for 2 and get out of there. I understand it. It didn't hurt them to lose the game. They'd have won. That'd have been cool. But it wasn't like they don't lose anything, in my opinion. And it showed that they have some gumption. I do that. But I will say after 2 or 3 times trying a 2-point conversion, I'd have probably kicked it and tied it up and saw what happened. But
I'm saying I'm going for it. I don't want to put no more wear and tear on my players. It's a team that ain't made the playoffs in since the civil rights days. So it's like I'm trying to save my players.
Man, it was like 1990
for the playoffs. So go for 2. You're on the road. I mean, they're not gonna win any road playoff games, Detroit Lions. So why not try to win that one? So I'm not mad at that decision.
Yeah, the only thing that it matters, possibly can matter, is the difference between the 2 and the 3 seed, and we'll see, how that all plays out. But we'll talk more about it, I'm sure, in the next segment. But it is really disappointing to see 2 teams play really well, good hard fought game, and have the decision be something other than the players on the field.
Yeah, damn near a Tuck rule. Just dumb stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Guy Coopers.
You got something to say, but no, the Tucker was a fumble.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. It's just it's something to come down like that. It's like, really? Well, you got anything to say about Vegas and the Colts?
You know what? The game ended up closer at the end. Aiden O'Connell showed some nice throws at the end of the game. We started out too slow. You can't expect your defense to put up 2 or 3 scores a week. So, but they were close. The Colts came out with a very good game plan, in my opinion. Everyone else kind of played timid against us the last few weeks, and the Colts were like, "Hey, this is our playoff. Throw it," and they did that. Minshew made some big throws, and they had some splash plays against us, which we haven't had in the last few weeks. We lose. I'm still standing. I'd love to have AP as the coach with Penix or something like that. I think this team is rolling. I don't really want to do a whole rebuild. If you get, I think kind of what you've been saying, Coop, about Mark Davis liking a flashy hire and big names.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see, Harbaugh's about to go into the national championship, potentially win it.
They have a Michigan connection and good friends.
If Harbaugh's the coach, the Raiders are going to be good. That's just his track record, period. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Harbaugh has that track record.
I mean, I get it. I think my concern, Coop, is is flipping things around quickly, right? Like, I don't think this team is that far away. So in my opinion, right, you have, if AP has a few years, 3 years or something, it's going to be half the price of what you're going to pay for, what's his name? Harbaugh. Mm-hmm. Get a chance to right the ship. We get to see some Raider football for a bit. I do feel his track record does show that it's great. It's always one of those things where, then you're going to come in, you're going to change. How much are you going to change? Who are you going to get rid of? Are we rebuilding again? Who am I trading away? Like, those are kind of some of my concerns, but I mean, either way, I just want to see the team win. So obviously I can't, if we keep AP, I'm happy. If I get Jim Harbaugh, I'm not going to be over here crying. So fair space to be in.
The game I'm the happiest about was Arizona beating everybody's favorite team, Philadelphia. MVP.
Oh
Jalen
my
Hurts.
gosh.
Boy, I tell you.
Hey, Zona's been playing hard, man. They beat the Cowboys. They play y'all tough. Like they're not
But
just.
I didn't see them beating Philly in Philly. I didn't see that.
No,
Not
and
at all.
they managed to make the Cowboys winning or losing like irrelevant.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
Yeah.
it's just.
Well, let's
it's
not
just,
forget the Philadelphia connection on the Cardinals too. I mean,
Yeah,
he came
exactly.
directly
Gannon,
from there.
yeah,
You'd be
yeah.
fighting for that too. Go ahead, B.
Oh yeah, Gannon knew his defense was bad, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a wild game to see go and break that way. And that was one of those that I think most people in their mind penciled in for a team to be 3-13 as opposed to 4-12. But everyone except for the Cardinals, you know.
Yeah.
That's it. Murray's tough, man.
Of course, James Conner does all-star things when I'm out of the playoffs and all my fantasy leagues.
Ain't that how it works? Ain't that how it works?
Yeah. James Conner,
hard to stop, man. Like he's wiggly.
Man, James Conner propelled me to a fantasy football championship, so I'm not mad.
Oh,
with the
nice.
points
You
he
got
gave
one
me,
too.
but,
Nice.
Man, back to back in this league. But yeah,
good for you.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming. I just didn't. I picked Arizona plus 12 in my point spread league because the way Philly's been playing, not all that great. Didn't expect Philly to lose, especially the way Arizona played the previous week in Chicago. So they played in Chicago, didn't play well. Then they go to Philly. I'm thinking, oh, Philly got this. 49ers are going to have to beat the Rams. And then I'm sure y'all probably saw the videos of the Niners players watching into that game. Like, wow. So Arizona, I mean, Philly is still going to be a tough out regardless because they're Philly, but to lose to Arizona at home, I think that's a problem. I don't know. Put up 35 too as well, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
They was cooking. Give us the next one, Coop.
I actually want to talk about New Orleans and Tampa Bay. I had New Orleans plus 3 in my point spread league because Tampa Bay has been skating, getting by these past few games, pretty lucky. But it sets another reason why I want New Orleans to win, because I think it sets up a winner take all thing. If Tampa Bay beats Carolina, which they should, they'll win the division and go to the playoffs. But if they happen to lose, which could happen, and New Orleans wins, then New Orleans gets in. I think they play Atlanta. I think the last game.
Don't they have the same record? I think the same record if they both
winner,
win.
It'll be winner of the New Orleans Atlanta game. Yep.
Yeah, but if both teams win though, if Bucks win and the Saints win,
no, if Bucks win, Bucks are in.
I thought the Saints. I thought the Saints had the
Bucks have in the driver's seat. It's not about the record; it's about tiebreakers throughout the season.
Yeah. If Bucks win, they're in. But if they lose,
I thought they beat them head to head.
No, I think they beat them 1. I think it's 1-1. But
1-1. Yeah, point differential.
But the thing is, they have to lose Tampa Bay. If they lose, it's out of Atlanta, and Atlanta can make the playoffs if they beat New Orleans. That is crazy. Crazy.
Oh, that's so sick. My thing, I was watching with Mom. Shout out to Mom, and I was just like Derek Carr, because she was like, oh, they gonna lose. Because she's like, Derek Carr ain't gonna do nothing, and then they mess around and won, and we're one handily. The other thing was Baker Mayfield has $1 million bonus for winning the division.
Yep.
So I was thinking he was gonna be cooking, man. They were not.
No, he's still Baker Mayfield.
I don't know if you guys saw, there was an IG video that was circulating around pretty tough this week, talking about all the bonuses. So they're talking about how people are, these games may be irrelevant to the teams, but there are a lot of games and spreads and things that can be changed. There are people who need 1 sack to get $1 million bonuses, 1.5 to get $2 million bonuses. There are tight ends who need 3 receptions to get a $500 or $1 million bonus. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that is going to make sure that these guys are extraordinarily motivated to play in these last week games, including players who are on playoffs teams who have things locked up. That's the 49ers. That it's going to be a little bit interesting to see if they want to make sure that these players don't play very long and get hurt. It's going to be very interesting to see what they have to do with those situations.
I'm Lawrence Taylor on any given Sunday, Playboy. I need my bread.
Be careful. I'm worth $1 million.
My bread, bro. Give me the shot. I need my bread.
Shit, speaking of the 49ers, they just ran the ball a lot, and McCaffrey got hurt. The great thing about him messing up his groin, we got to finally see Elijah Mitchell, who ran the ball pretty well and should get more carries per game.
We've been saying this all year, though.
We've
been saying this all year. Why won't Shanahan just you got to mix it up? Like, why are you? But okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but Mitchell played really well in McCaffrey's when he went out early in the third quarter. Just a groin injury. He's not playing next week. Not playing during the bye week, so he'll have plenty of time to recover. If any team needs a bye week, I said it after the Cleveland game, They needed a bye week because they lost to Minnesota and lost Cincinnati. They needed a bye week. They need a bye week right now because they're nicked up. The 49ers are an older team with a lot of veterans. They're good players, but they've gotten nicked up over the years. They need time off. So if any team needed a bye week, it's the 49ers. Then they got one. So thanks to Philly. Or thanks to Arizona, actually. So
and they had no business too. Niners had to win that game. So
yeah, we had to win the game, but it's Washington, so it's Washington. You know what I mean? So they took care of business there. And then I don't know if you guys got anything to say about that game. It wasn't much.
I just saw the highlights.
Yeah. It wasn't much.
I watched it.
Highlights.
Yeah,
it was what we thought it would be.
Right.
Okay.
But I do want to talk about the way Baltimore beat the hell out of Miami because we both were on that one. We were both on Baltimore, and I said
absolutely.
Baltimore is steamrolling people right now, and they keep playing every week. This is what they do to stop them. They need like a bye week or something so they could kind of stop that momentum. They ain't got a bye week right now. They're just rolling people, and they went and they just kept scoring on Miami. I said in our group text, if you were playing against Lamar Jackson, you lost because he had 5 touchdowns and hell of he was slicing and dicing. So
there was a point in this year where a lot of teams were instantly saying we're not interested in Lamar Jackson or having him, which
there were a lot of teams when he was eligible to be traded for when he wanted to get out.
Quite foolish.
Yeah.
Looking like an MVP to me. Go ahead.
He's definitely looking like the MVP. I mean, if Hill, broke the record, I would have liked to see him. And like I said, I thought this was going to be a great year for a non-quarterback. But in the last couple of weeks, Lamar Jackson has all but shipped himself the MVP trophy with those two performances against two of the best teams in the NFL, the 49ers, and again with Dolphins. Now, we were both not believers in the Dolphins to win a big game because of their history against other winning teams. 100%. But I don't think either of us expected them to get ran out the game.
Oh, no.
And give up 5 touchdowns to Lamar Jackson. We thought they'd put up a fight.
Yeah.
They didn't. They
at least pinched them.
Yeah, but I was about to say, did you at least pinch them? Exactly. Right. Exactly.
But then we had a lot of jokes going on because, if anyone who's listened to this for any stretch of time knows I've been a big Lamar Jackson fan for a really long time. And I think he's a really great quarterback and thrower of the ball in addition to runner of the ball. And I thought that this new offense was going to give him an opportunity to show out. And throughout the season, he had moments, but in the last couple of weeks, it's just clicked. And he has looked like one of the better throwers of the ball, not necessarily the best, but one of the throwers of the ball, in addition to the best quarterback right now and going into these playoffs. So, I'm pretty thrilled to see that. And there's a lot of people who teased me a whole lot. I did. About being a big Lamar Jackson fan. And they're gonna have to hear about it for a little while because he's playing the kind of football that he can hang his hat on for a really long time.
Mm-hmm. I think Lamar's at this point where he has to win playoff games now. I think we all know what he can do in the regular. We all know what he can do in the regular season. It's all about playoff victories now.
100%. Agree.
Shit, Houston. I don't have nothing to say about Houston, Tennessee. I don't know if y'all watched that game.
No, I like seeing CJ Stroud and them get them dubs, man. Keep going, Houston.
Did he play?
Get y'all a playoff run.
Yeah.
He played. Okay. Oh, he did play. Okay.
Get y'all a playoff run, man.
Yeah, a Peerless One sports pick was Pittsburgh outright. I think I called that one last week as an upset against Seattle. I just don't think Seattle's that good. And Pittsburgh
it was a pretty good game, though.
30.
It was a pretty good game.
But the fact that Pittsburgh put up 30 proves you don't belong in the playoffs. They don't have an offense.
There's their highest, I think their highest yards output of the year too.
Really? Yeah, I
think so.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that game, Brian. Seattle and Pittsburgh.
I didn't watch that game, or at least pay close attention to it. It was on one of the little squares, but it was I root for Mike Tomlin.
Yeah,
because Mike Tomlin is Mike Tomlin. We talked a little bit about it, like Pittsburgh fans, Pittsburgh organization. You are out of your damn mind if you're going to move on from a coach or think about moving on from a coach who has never had a losing season.
Yeah, he ain't going nowhere.
How hard is it? How many teams would love the consistency and the opportunities to be good, to be good that consistently? Teams get worse, get better, get worse, get better. They have talent, they don't have talent. Pittsburgh has had a lot of trouble keeping talent sane. They've got a lot of players who have come in, lost their damn mind, had to go elsewhere,
and still won. And
they still won. Yeah,
that's one player to the Raiders. First of all, one player to the Raiders.
Yeah, in Pittsburgh. Anyways, just going back to Mike Tomlin just icing that, you had to know that he was going to find a way to get a winning record. Therefore, you had to know that there was a good chance he was going to win this game because it was eminently winnable.
It was a good game. What else, Coach?
In the interest of everybody, we're not talking about the Chargers in Denver. We're going to move on to Kansas City and Cincinnati.
Thanks.
I don't know if you guys watched that game. Cincinnati had them in the first half, then KC kind of came back in the second and kind of took control of that game. Looks like the Jake Browning thing is finally over. It's almost like Linsanity.
I mean, they were close. It's always going to be Burrow, but he did enough. In the 2 games.
He was trying hard to keep them in games and give them opportunities to win games they had no business winning. The fact that the Chiefs just can't find a way to beat beatable teams by real margins and show how good they are is exactly why I think it's going to be a really short postseason.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. And then finally, I don't know if you want to talk about this game, Brian. I'm gonna leave this one up to you. Green Bay and Minnesota.
Pass.
The last game.
I said last week that I really hope that they don't try and win this game. That they move on to give Jaren Hall an opportunity. That they give Ty Chandler an opportunity, and just go that route. And that's what they did. I'm really happy about that. They had literally zero expectations. I was talking to my buddy who obviously we all know, who was a huge Green Bay fan. And we were both talking about how uninterested we were in the actual conclusion of the game. And we're more interested about seeing how the young guys played. So it was like looking at Jordan Love and seeing how he was doing. As Glenn will tell you, is he's the quarterback of his championship team. Jordan Love had a really solid game. And several of which throughout the season, his stats are significantly beyond at this point. The same Aaron Rodgers at the same point, even though there's still a lot of people who aren't sure that they believe in him, he has done plenty to earn another season at the helm.
I would take him.
Yeah, 100%. And then, we put Jaren Hall in there because we needed to figure out whether or not his 9 snaps were real. We found out he's not ready yet. That's not to say that he can't be ready, but he's a backup quarterback at best. He needs some more seasoning. They put Mullins back in there to throw the ball all crazy and whatnot, which is what he does. And it's fun to watch. And in a game where you don't care about winning or losing, it's much more entertaining and easy to deal with.
Yep.
Because when you're trying to win a game and he's throwing it all over, and every time you're like, it's going to be an interception, it's just rough. But anyways, it was what we thought it would be, and it is what it's going to be, and so on and so forth.
Aaron Jones was my first pick, I think, in your league too. So, and Jones had the best game of his season, and then him and Love both cooked for me to win the championship. So, word. I keep saying it because it's been a long time in Brian's league. I've been the butt of jokes. I'll put it like this for anybody who no one knows you guys aren't involved in the league. My team was called, I think, 2 years ago. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
That's funny.
So that's how it's been for me. So I'm very excited about this win. But yeah. But no, it was
20 years.
Love was cooking, man. Love was cooking. Like he had the Packers looked all right without Watson. So I don't know what that means long term, right? But they look all right.
Yeah.
What else you got, Coop?
Oh, nothing. That's all the games, man. We can move on.
That's all the games we can talk about. The playoff picture is crazy. There's there's still some spots available in both the NFC and the AFC. While we should not talk about it as if it's real, there's even an insignificant amount of percentage that the Vikings still make the playoffs, but we can move on from that real easily.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's talk about the bigger.
You got Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and so Baltimore
game that is absolutely huge. Here's the catch about it, though: the Ravens don't need to win it. They've already clinched.
That's what I was gonna say.
Right.
They've already clinched the bye. I can't. If you play anyone on the Ravens team, it's the incentive guys. And you play them 1 or 2 drives just to get them their things. Like I don't know if any of those guys need 2 catches or 1 catches, but all you're out there to do is feed those 2 guys those 2 catches and get the hell out of there. So but it's still a very significant game for the Steelers. So they have a 22% chance of getting in, and it starts with them obviously winning this game. And I don't know about you, but I would actually give the 3.5 points because Pittsburgh's favored by 3.5. and think that the Pittsburgh's going to beat the Ravens because the Ravens aren't going to play football.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh beat them earlier this year too. So I mean, I would definitely take the Steelers to win this game, but Steelers need a lot of help. They need Buffalo to lose. They need Jaguars to lose. They need or maybe the Colts or Texans tie. I mean, they need a lot of help to try to get into the playoffs. So it's possible. So we'll see what happens. But I'll definitely take Pittsburgh to win this game and end the season on a high note. Definitely. Another huge game with implications is the Houston Texans. They actually have a chance to make the playoffs in Indianapolis.
Is that a division winning game, or is this for the last spot? Because the Jags have their division still, right?
I think the Jags
Jags are still the division leaders, but they could make a wild card, and it's a 50-50 game. Houston is 47% and Colts are 53% to make the playoffs based on the results of this game.
Come on, Houston.
Both of which need to win it, obviously, to capitalize on that relatively reasonable percentage.
Yeah, come on, Houston. No diss to the Colts, even though we lost. I'm just saying it'd be cool because C.J. Stroud would be a really cool story to see him get a playoff game this early and see DeMeco Ryans turn that team into a playoff team this quick.
Well, also though, you got to give a shout out to. Okay, so you hear a lot of people talking about this guy can coach, that guy can coach. You know, I heard a lot about Eric Bieniemy, and I look at the Washington team. They don't look any different than last year. But then I look at these two teams, Houston and Indianapolis. Sure. Indianapolis, Shane Steichen, who was the offense coordinator for Philadelphia Eagles, the one good season that Jalen Hurts has was with him. He's with Indianapolis, and Indianapolis had no playoff expectations. And this guy knows what he's doing. He can coach. He's lost his starting quarterback, Anthony Richardson, who he tailored his offense to. Now he has to go to ambulance ball throwing Gardner Minshew, and he's making it happen. Seriously, he's making it happen. I mean, this team does not win pretty, but they're just winning games. And to be in this position at 9-7, people got to give him props, just like I'm giving DeMeco Ryans props. Both of these guys should not even be in this position. So if you want to know guys who actually coach, who do it on the field from the beginning of the season all the way through the end, these two guys right here. I don't want to hear hype. I don't want to hear names. These two guys can coach, and I would definitely watch this game to see who wins. And I would be happy for either team. But I kind of want DeMeco Ryans because he was with Niners. But if Indianapolis wins, I can't hate. Can't hate at all.
Got Houston minus 1.5.
I'm taking Indianapolis. I'm taking the Colts at home.
Take Houston.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised, but we'll see.
It could go either. It could go either way.
Game.
It could go either way for sure.
Yeah, I'm taking the Colts only because they're at home. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
Surprise team. I don't think this has maybe it has playoff implications, but it's Cleveland and Cincinnati. I'm just letting you know right now. My coach of the year, I'll discuss it next week, is going to be Kevin Stefanski. I'm explaining why next week.
It was
It was DeMeco. Yep. And it could switch next week, Brian, knowing me. But right now, it's Kevin Stefanski. But anything you want to say about this game, Cleveland and Cincinnati? Who you expect to win?
I think it's big. Cleveland's locked, right?
It's a seeding game.
Yeah.
Cleveland's already made the playoffs, so it's a seeding game. Look, I don't expect to see much from the Browns at this point, to be honest. And so I will. It's a lot of points to give up, but Cincinnati -6 seems about reasonable.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with you on that one. I don't think Cincinnati will make it, but the spread looks about right. Minnesota. I know you don't talk about that. Jacksonville.
I take Detroit.
Jacksonville, Tennessee. I'm talking about. Okay, so let's just say Tampa Bay loses. Atlanta, New Orleans. In New Orleans, Brian, who you got?
Shout out our cousin Nafis is gonna be at that game too. Go ahead.
Oh, word. Okay, it's New Orleans -3 at home.
So Atlanta, New Orleans. I'm taking New Orleans. There's nothing I want to have anything to do with the Falcons.
I'm with you on that. I'm not messing with the Falcons at all. And I'm not really, of course, anybody listening to this show or knows me knows I'm not a big Baker Mayfield fan. So if he does not make the playoffs and the winner of this game goes, I wouldn't care. It just, it'd be good drama, good theater.
Sure.
Let's see, Jets and New England. Oh, hell no. Chicago.
Well, we can talk about the Green Bay game. The Green
Bay. Talk about Chicago Green
Bears
Bay.
game is for a playoff spot for the Packers.
Yes. Who you got? I'm sure you got the same side. Yeah, me too.
And it's in Chicago, though, right?
I don't think
Green Bay.
It's Green Bay. That's right.
Green Bay.
It's in Green Bay, and it's not like that. That's not I do not think the Bears are a pushover team right now. And I do think that Fields, who got a lot of crowd support, very surprisingly, when they were there, they said, "We want Fields."
Yeah, cool.
I do think he's out there trying to play, improve himself, ready for next season. And if the Bears were to lose or win, they would have this end up having the same record at the end of the season. That being said, I just think the Packers and Jordan Love are going to find a way to win this and end up in the playoffs unexpectedly.
Okay, so Brian, let me ask you this. So Justin Fields pretty much auditioning for other teams next year, but let me ask you, would you think a little?
Is he?
Would you? Huh?
Yeah, I keep hearing Raider fans like, oh, he was with Champ Kelly. I heard some say we'll take him, and I keep getting
there are people talking about him going to the Vikings too, because they say the price will only be a second or a third.
Yeah, he's auditioning for other teams. But this is what I want to ask you. It's only a -3 spread. Green Bay at home against Chicago. They're saying it's about even. Would you think any less of Jordan Love if he lost this game to the Bears and prevented Green Bay from going to the playoffs?
No.
Well, depends on the game, though, Cooper. You're saying he throws 7 picks and they lose?
No, I'm just saying
just lose the game.
I just think Green Bay has the better roster, the better coach, and the better team. So if they lose this game, I don't know. I'm just asking the question. Yeah. I'm not saying anybody.
I just don't think that they're good enough that you can expect wins. They're an 8-8 team. You know, they're while I do think they are a better team than the Bears, and that is why I picked them to win.
Barely.
I don't think that they're so much better than the Bears that it's a given that, you know, they can not lose the game. You know, like, again, if the Bears win, they will have the same record on the season.
Right. Yeah, I think the spread's this low because of the quarterback situation, because they did lose to the Giants and lose to the Buccaneers. And I think Green Bay has a better roster than both of them. But it'd be cool to see Green Bay go. I mean, I don't care either way, but
that Giants game was barely.
Yeah, but
again.
I just don't
lost.
Think they should have lost to the team. Yeah.
Yeah,
but I mean,
close.
we'll see. It's actually a sneaky game. I'm actually kind of interested in watching now that I've talked about it with you guys. So we'll see what happens.
There's a part of me that wants the Vikings to find a way to win and the Bears to find a way to win, so that the Bears, the Vikings, and the Packers all have the same record at the end of the season. And I don't have to hear nothing from nobody. But I just don't think that's what's going to happen. I think the Vikings are going to lose, and I think the Packers are going to win.
Now, let me ask you this, Glenn, going to the next game. You got the Raiders are -2.5 favorite at home against Denver. Will you think any less of Antonio Pierce if he loses this game to Jarrett Stidham?
I don't think we lose, bro. I think that Raiders team is motivated. That defense is going to be out there on it against Stidham and them boys. Nah, and we'll beat the Broncos in 4 years. If we did somehow lose, it's end of the season, you know, kind of is what it is. Either way, like I told you, bro, however the coaching goes, I just don't want, you know, don't give me, who'd y'all say, Lincoln Riley or some.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
if I get AP or I get Harbaugh, I'm cool. I'd love to see AP because I like he's a Raider. Harbaugh's not. Harbaugh's a great coach. AP is an actual Raider, so it's been cool to see
AB
that.
from LA. He's grew up a Raider fan. Yeah.
All day, Black Air Forces, pulling up in the Impala. Like, I like that swag, but either way, it's cool. I do think we win this game. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout because for some reason we always play Denver close, but I think we win.
Yeah, I think the last meaningful game on here, Brian, just looking at it's going to be Buffalo and Miami.
Buffalo, that's huge.
Implications. That's coming on Sunday night.
I mean,
that's major.
Teams can go from in the playoffs to win the division. Win the division to out of the playoffs in this game.
Yeah. Who you got? So, Miami's at home. Buffalo's favored by 3 in Miami.
I was looking at tickets for it.
I still don't trust the Miami Dolphins, and I think the Buffalo Bills are supremely motivated. I think the Bills win.
Miami plays good at home. I will say that.
Yeah, so Miami can beat anybody at home. Miami can beat anybody at home, but I think the history is, I think Josh Allen kills them, but I think that's when Brian Flores mostly was there. I'm going to, you know what? I would take Miami against anybody. They have a chance to beat anybody at home, so I'm going to take Miami at home. I'm going to take them. In the beginning of the season, I picked Buffalo not to make the playoffs, and so I guess I have to stick with it. So I'll take Miami in this game.
So it's supposed to rain on Sunday
in Miami.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna flip my pick. No.
Yep. I think that bodes well. I mean, Miami can run the ball clearly, but I think it bodes well for them with and their passing game can also be somewhat of a running game after, you know, watching them in person and seeing it, because Tua can get the ball out quickly, a few yards out, and then you have guys that can get a bunch of yards. But I don't know. It's kind of the weather. I know it's, you know, obviously it's football. You got to play how you play, but the daytime in Miami when they got you in the sun baking versus nighttime rain feels a little Buffalo-ish. So I don't know. And if Miami loses, they're still straight, right?
Yeah.
Or are they out? Yeah, they're still in. They just don't have the division win. So yeah.
Hey, Brian, this is crazy. everybody knows San Francisco does not need to win this game. Trent Williams ain't playing. McCaffrey ain't playing this game.
I wouldn't play nobody.
But the 49ers are still favored by 3.5 at home against the Rams. That doesn't seem right to me. The Rams need to win this game to make the playoffs. And San Francisco doesn't need to win at all. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, you think the Rams will win the game?
I would absolutely take the Rams.
Yeah, I would too. I don't see why the point spread is the way it is unless.
Is Fred Warner gonna play? Is Bosa gonna play? Is Chase Young?
They might play a series here or there. I mean,
I did read that there are an awful lot of 49ers who have incentives in their contract. So I do think that there's some extent of that, especially the defensive line players who are going to be sack hunting. And so
Bosa lost some games, right? So yeah, Bosa lost some games. So if he has any kind of sack booster in there, he's gonna try and may have one or two to make up. But I don't know. I'm curious on that because I think the defense is where you guys can win. The offense, even with Bradford, I think it's still enough to score.
Sam Bradford, that dude, floppy sleeves don't play in the NFL. Who you talking about, Bradford?
Wait, who am I thinking of?
He does.
You said Stafford? You mean Stafford?
No, I'm talking about
Sam Darnold.
You think? Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Darnold. I'm sorry, Bradford. Wow.
It's all good.
Hey, bro. You know I'm over 40, bro.
It's all good.
I've watched a lot of football.
Sam Bradford is good.
Yeah. No, you're right. That's funny. Sam Darnold is going to play, right? Like Brock's not going to play, is he?
I hope not.
Again, I think it's going to be a series or two for a lot of those
49ers. He's a second-year player, though. It might be worth playing him.
I did hear Shanahan said a couple weeks ago that there's not enough players on the team to not play any starters. So some starters will play a little bit. So, we'll see. Yeah. I just don't want nobody getting hurt. Seriously.
Bro, y'all have shown you cannot weather a major injury.
No, we're not a deep team. We can't have injuries. But that's about it. B, anything else you want to go on NFL?
Nope. Good.
We did a very thorough review.
I love it.
Yeah.
We're at that point of the season. So last couple segments, man, hogwash. I think I don't even think y'all know what I was saying. It's them NFL referees. They get, like Brian texts us in the group chat, they're hogwash of the year 2023 NFL referees.
Yeah, it's nonstop.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with NFL referees too, man. It's like people say they should have full-time officials. Well, I don't know what sense that makes because what are they gonna do Monday through Saturday? The games are on Sunday, so I don't know what full-time officials gonna do. But I do know that the officiating used to be a lot better.
Look at film.
Yeah. Do something. The officiating used to be a lot better when Dean Blandino was running, and then they got the NFL decided to get rid of him, and now this NFL officiating is just atrocious. And there's something that could be done. The NFL just doesn't want to do anything about it. And I've always said there's two jobs in this country you can be bad at and still keep your job. That's officiating and government official.
Oh, I thought okay. Yeah, government.
And I'm just, they're just not very good. And then that crew, NFL said, well, that crew will not get any playoff games or got demoted or whatever in that Dallas-Detroit game. That does nothing for the fan. You pretty much ruined a game that was, could have been better than what it was if you not had gotten involved or at least got the call right. So
quite a few.
I'm with y'all on that one. Yeah,
this year, quite a few. Cool.
My hogwash goes to Sean Payton. You just don't treat people that way.
Russell Wilson?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I remember somebody you guys are, very close to really screaming about how terrible Sean Payton was at the very beginning of this season.
But he's a Raider fan with headphones on.
He said he's a crappy person. We just thought he might be able to coach. It turns out he can't do either.
Okay, I was saying it, but yeah, no, that's cool. Cool.
I'm good. No, I got my hogwash in. My man, the winner is just thanks everybody for listening.
Yep,
that's it.
I had one, man, but I can't remember when it was. So happy New Year for all the golfers, man. New golf season. It's 2024 golf. So get them handicaps lower and get them records, them record rounds. B. Yeah,
thanks everyone for listening last year. It's been a lot of fun. Happy New Year to all, and looking forward to next.
That's it. We appreciate you. That's Sports Counterpoints.
Wait. Happy New Year, everybody. Okay, y'all got
your mind.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Peace.